All right, so you're getting ready for an audiology technician interview, huh? That's awesome. But it can be tough to stand out, right?
Yeah, it's a competitive field these days.
For sure. And that's what we're diving into today, how to really nail that interview.
We're going to unpack some common questions you might get asked, stuff straight from RoleCatcher's resources.
Exactly. We'll figure out how to make your answers shine.
Hmm.
Show them you're not just skilled, but also passionate about audiology.
It's that passion that really grabs their attention.
Totally. Oh, and remember that thing from RoleCatcher about AI? They said tons of applications get screened by AI now.
Oh, yeah, that's huge. You got to stand out right off the bat.
Exactly. So those insights from RoleCatcher's career guides are going to be super helpful.
Totally.
But before we get into all that, let's break it down. What exactly does an audiology technician do? It's not just about hearing aids, right?
It's way more than that. Think of it like this. You're creating A&D, servicing those devices, understanding the tech inside and out.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's
Yeah.
very hands-on, very technical.
Absolutely. You're problem solving, staying updated on the newest advancements, and using your people skills too.
Okay, that makes it way more interesting than I thought. So how would you tackle that classic interview question? How did you first become interested in audiology? I feel like a generic answer won't cut it. What do you think?
You're absolutely right. This isn't about spitting out a textbook definition. It's about telling your story. What sparked that passion in you?
Yeah, like a personal connection.
Exactly. Was it a grandparent's hearing aids that fascinated you when you were a kid? Or maybe some amazing sound that just captivated you?
A personal story is way more powerful.
Yeah,
It shows it's more than just a job to you.
exactly. And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can really give you an edge.
Oh, really? How so?
You can actually type in your answer, and it analyzes it for things like enthusiasm. It even gives you suggestions based on the job description.
Whoa, that's seriously cool.
Yeah.
It's like having a personal coach in your pocket, helping you fine-tune your answers to what hiring managers are looking for.
Exactly. And speaking of staying ahead of the game, that brings us to our next question. How do you keep up with advancements in audiology technology?
Okay, I'll admit, staying current can feel like homework sometimes.
I hear you. But honestly, audiology tech is evolving so fast, it's actually pretty exciting. Remember the guide mentioned AI in hearing aid design?
Oh yeah, I was just reading about that. They can personalize hearing aids based on someone's environment now, like filtering out background noise in a restaurant but amplifying a speaker's voice. That's incredible.
It's wild, right? Staying updated isn't just about keeping up, it's about being at the forefront of something incredible.
So how do we show them we're on top of things?
Get specific. Instead of just saying reading industry journals, talk about a recent article that blew your mind, or mention a webinar on cutting-edge tech. Paint a picture of someone who's actively engaged in the field's evolution.
This is about showing, not just telling.
I like it. And don't forget, professional organizations. Joining groups like the International Hearing Society isn't just about the letters after your name. It's about being part of a network of knowledge and staying current.
So it's about being part of that larger audiology community.
Precisely. And speaking of community, let's shift gears to patient care. Question 3 is a big one. How do you approach patient care and communication? That's where those people skills really shine.
Right. Seems pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah.
Be a good listener, caring, all that good stuff.
It's more nuanced than that. The career guide really emphasizes active listening and having that service orientation. This means going beyond just being polite. It's about truly understanding and addressing their needs.
So it's about going that extra mile to make the patient feel heard.
You got it. And that takes practice and genuine compassion, you know?
This might also be a good time to mention RoleCatcher's competency interview directory, right?
Absolutely. They break down key skills like active listening, and they even give you examples of how to demonstrate those skills in an interview.
That's incredibly helpful because it's one thing to say you're a good listener. It's another to back it up with how you've actually used that skill.
Exactly. Speaking of real-world situations, let's move on to a question that might feel a bit tougher. How do you handle difficult or emotional situations with patients? It's important to be prepared for this one.
Yeah, healthcare can be emotionally charged. I remember the guide even listed that as a potential downside of the job. So how do we answer authentically without getting flustered?
First, acknowledge that emotional side. It shows you get the weight of this role. Then, think of a specific example where you dealt with a challenging patient interaction with empathy and professionalism.
So if a patient was frustrated with their new hearing aid, I can talk about how I'd actively listen to their concerns, try to understand their frustration, and work with them to find a solution.
Exactly. Having that real example makes all the difference. It proves you've been there, navigated those tough conversations, and came out on top.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, shifting gears a bit, question 5 is about teamwork. How do you approach working with other healthcare professionals? Because it's a team effort, right?
Absolutely. You'll be working with audiologists, physicians, speech therapists, a whole team. Being a team player is crucial.
For sure. So how do we show them we can be that go-to collaborator?
Think back to a time you worked on a project with a team, maybe a complex case that needed input from different specialists.
Okay, so a specific story about working together to get a good outcome. And what should we highlight about our role?
Definitely focus on your communication skills, being open to different opinions, and your willingness to compromise for the sake of the patient.
Right, so being adaptable, a good listener, and putting the patient first, even if it means adjusting your approach.
Exactly. And that brings us to another crucial aspect of the job, the technology itself. Question 6 dives into your tech skills. How do you approach troubleshooting and problem solving when working with audiology equipment?
Ah, yes. This is where those technical skills really come into play. We are talking about intricate devices, software, even connecting hearing aids to smartphones these days. It's a whole different ballgame from just fixing a loose wire.
That's a great point. You've got to show them you can think critically, diagnose problems methodically, and find the solutions efficiently.
So, how should we tackle this question? It seems a bit trickier, more technical.
Think about a time you faced a tough technical challenge, maybe at a previous job or even in your personal life. Walk the interviewer through your process.
Okay, like how you identified the problem and what steps you took.
Exactly. Did you consult manuals, research online? Did you manage to find a solution?
Ooh, this reminds me of the time my computer crashed right before a big presentation. I totally panicked, but then I took a deep breath and started troubleshooting. I ended up finding a solution online and saved the presentation just in time. Talk about a close call.
Now, that's a fantastic example. It shows you can think on your feet, you can handle pressure, and you're resourceful.
It also highlights those transferable skills that might not be obvious on a resume. Speaking of pressure, how do we answer question 7? How do you prioritize and manage your workload in a busy audiology clinic? Even thinking about it stresses me out.
I hear you. It's a fast-paced environment for sure. This question is all about showcasing your organizational skills, time management, and your ability to stay calm under pressure.
So how do we prove we can handle the chaos?
Think about a time when you juggled multiple projects or deadlines. Were there any unexpected obstacles? How did you manage everything? It's all about having systems. Did you make a schedule, prioritize your tasks, delegate when you could?
That's exactly what I did. I remember juggling a research project and a conference presentation at the same time. It was a lot, but I broke down the tasks, figured out what needed to be done first, and even got some help from colleagues when I needed it.
Perfect. Those are the key things to highlight. You want to show them you can stay organized and focused even when things get crazy busy.
Which is super important in any job, really. Okay, let's move on from organization to communication. Question 8 asks, how do you approach educating patients and their families about hearing loss, treatment options, and communication strategies? This feels like a big one.
It's huge. You're not just a tech expert, you're an educator. You're helping patients navigate this whole new world of sound.
So how do we show them we're up to the challenge?
Empathy and clear communication are essential. Think of a time when you had to explain something complicated to someone who knew nothing about it. Did you use analogies, pictures, simple language?
This reminds me of when my grandma got her first hearing aids. It was a learning curve for both of us. I remember explaining how to use them, clean them, troubleshoot any issues. I had to make it make sense to her.
Exactly. That's the kind of experience you want to draw on. It shows you get it, you understand the importance of patience, empathy, and meeting each patient where they are.
Because hearing loss is such a personal thing.
Absolutely. Which leads us to another crucial aspect of patient care, cultural sensitivity. Question 9 is, how do you approach providing care to diverse patient populations? You know, those with cultural or linguistic differences.
That's so important these days. How do we demonstrate that we're culturally competent? It's more than just language, right?
Way more. It's about actively listening, asking questions to make sure you understand, and being genuinely interested in their perspective, their beliefs, their customs, all of it.
So it's about building trust and rapport, respecting those differences.
Exactly. It's about bridging those gaps so you can provide the best possible care.
I'm seeing how all these questions are connected now. It's not just about the technical stuff. It's about the whole package. Communication, empathy, cultural awareness, the works.
You got it. And that brings us to our final question, which is a little different. This one's about mentorship. How do you approach mentoring and training new audiology technicians?
This one throws me off a bit. What if I'm not in a supervisory role yet?
That's okay. Even if you're not officially mentoring someone, this question is about showing that you're willing to share what you know. You're supportive of your colleagues and contribute to a positive work environment. Being a team player.
So what are they really looking for in an answer?
They want to know you can communicate clearly, give constructive feedback, and that you actually care about helping others grow. Think of a time when you helped a coworker. Maybe you explained a tricky concept or offered some advice.
It doesn't have to be formal mentorship then, it could be as simple as helping a coworker who's struggling with new software.
Exactly. It's those everyday acts of leadership that make a difference.
Okay, that makes me feel a lot better. I was imagining some big formal training thing, but it's really about those small moments of support.
You got it. And don't forget, RoleCatcher can help you prep for these kinds of questions too. Their AI can look over your answers and give you feedback, so you're highlighting the right skills.
It's like having a secret weapon. Speaking of secret weapons, we've been weaving in those career insights from RoleCatcher's guide throughout this whole deep dive.
They're super important for understanding the bigger picture of this career.
Like how the demand for audiology technicians is supposed to grow a lot, especially with more people needing those services as they get older. That's really encouraging.
It's a field with a bright future, for sure. And remember those advancement opportunities the guide talked about, like becoming a licensed audiologist or specializing in a certain area. It's a career path with tons of potential.
That's really good to remember. It's not just about getting a job. It's about starting a career that's both rewarding and in demand.
Exactly. Finding something you're passionate about A&D that has opportunities for you to learn and grow.
So we've covered a ton of ground here today, from what an audiology technician actually does to tackling those tricky interview questions.
Now it's about putting it all together so you can walk into that interview feeling like you've got this.
Absolutely. Any last bits of advice on how to make those answers really stand out?
Let your passion shine through. Let them see how much you care about helping people hear better.
I love that. It's not just what you say, but how you say it, right?
Exactly. A genuine smile goes a long way. And don't forget to have a few questions of your own ready to go.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. It shows you're really thinking about the role in the clinic.
Exactly. Ask about the team, their approach to patient care, the technology they're using, things like that.
Like you're interviewing them, too.
Exactly. Now, before we wrap up, let's circle back to those career insights from the guide. Remember, you're going into a field with a really positive outlook. Especially with an aging population, the need for audiology technicians is only going to grow.
That's so reassuring to hear. It's not just about this one job. It's about a whole career.
And speaking of setting yourself up for success, don't forget about those awesome AI tools RoleCatcher offers. They can help you tweak your resume for specific jobs, analyze your interview answers, even let you practice with AI feedback.
It's like having a personal career coach on demand. That's amazing.
Right. And a lot of those features are actually free to use.
No way.
Yeah.
That's a game changer. So what does this all mean for you, dear listener? It means you're not just prepping for an interview, you're getting ready for a career that's both rewarding and impactful.
You've got the knowledge, the skills, and most importantly, the passion to make a real difference.
And with RoleCatcher in your toolkit, you have everything you need to put your best foot forward. You got this.
Go ace that interview.
And that's a wrap on our Audiology Technician Interview Prep Deep Dive. We hope you found it helpful and empowering. Remember, preparation is key. With the right tools and the right mindset, you can achieve anything. Until next time, happy job hunting.